Hey guys, welcome back to Expedition 33. I'm gonna hope stream's fine now. Wait, so are we like... Okay, this is interesting. Not what I expected at all. So we gotta go over there. Are we swimming then, or...
Acceleration!
No, we can't swim. Okay. Oh, there's a merchant here. Lumiere's suit, an outfit for Gustav. Outfit for Mayao. I mean, sure. Let's get a couple of these. A new outfit would be pretty nice right now. Looks pretty good. For you... I think we'll just keep that. Oh, you have a new hairstyle. You are not using that hairstyle, hell no.
Here we go.
We gotta go up here. Okay. There's a giant over there.
Wanna go for a ride? Apparently that was where people went on dates, you know? What do you think happened in those cabins?
No, actually, my guess is this was Expedition 50.
Oh, come on,
You
that's
see,
boring.
They created this giant wheel, and they tried to cross the world.
That's a boring answer.
Okay, Professor.
Mes amis, Florey's close. I can feel it.
Come on, you can fly. Can't you get Flurry yourself?
Oh no, too much effort.
He one-shot that thing.
So, wait. Esquire is that powerful?
Apparently so. But also lazy.
All right, let's go.
What a weird creature.
Bro, we wouldn't have to fight anything if he just took over for us. So nothing down here. That doesn't sound good. It's just made out of rocks. Was it gonna be weak against physical attacks, maybe? Or earth? I have no idea. Okay.
Let me help.
I mean, I'm gonna try Earth and see what happens. He's got shield up, I know. Okay, he's not weak to Earth. Now we know. Oh, I missed the last one, damage. Wait, he shielded himself again? I didn't even finish taking all of the shields down. Okay, that's a bit annoying, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, he's weak to physical. Okay. Well, now we know. He's burning now. He's thermal transfer. Oh, come on. You took longer for those attacks, I swear.
I'm not leaving you behind. Stop, don't die.
There we go. Okay, we still don't have enough for that.
Take him down. Lune, watch out.
He is still burning, so...
A storm is coming.
Some good damage. It takes like a million years for that combo, I swear to you.
Ready to parry.
Oh, come on, I blocked that. He's burning, isn't he? He is, okay. I need more HP than that though.
Second wind.
A storm is coming.
Don't have enough to use that.
Guard up.
Okay, overcharge is ready. He still has shield up though. It's not gonna be. Oh wait.
Let me help.
On me.
God, it's such an awkward attack, man. There we go. finish it. Confident. Take 50% less damage but can't be healed. I'm not using that. Like ever. So we gotta go that way. What's up here? Oh.
The 78. Maxence. Stealing the airships. But we knew we had to try, and it worked. We deserve strong leaders, not those old fools on the council hiding under the dome. Under their control, our people are condemned to a slow, inevitable extinction. Their timid half-steps achieve nothing. The answers are not in Lumiere. They are out here. Our only choice is to take matters into our own hands. Fortune favors the bold. We must forge ahead with conviction.
Interesting. Oh, it's one of these. I never actually got the keys for this one. Like, I don't know where to... Yeah. Oh! Like, is it that these symbols? Like, is that what I'm shooting? No. Because they said shoot the keys, but like, I don't know where these keys are. Oh, there's something over there. I can't climb over there though. Hold on, if I go up here... Doesn't really help me, does it? I can't climb anywhere from... What's the point of coming up here? Oh, hold on. Hold on. Might be cooking something here. Come on, you can jump that, right? Hold on, if I... Oh, nope, okay. But there's gotta be a reason why you could come up here, right? I'm like so lost. Well, there's a thing up there as well? I don't... What does that all mean? Maybe it's a shooting angle, but what am I supposed to shoot at? Do I shoot at you? Oh, okay. Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, now we're missing one. I don't know where the last one is. Did I see it somewhere? I think it was up here. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Okay. I was trying to figure it out. I just didn't get it.
Nice.
Stellar arm. Is that better than the ice one that you have? Yes, it is. It does light damage. Interesting. And might and defense is what it looks at. Oh no, it looks at vitality and luck. Never mind. It should be fine. Let's use it. Does more damage. It is a light attack. I might switch to the ice one depending on the situation. We'll see. Let's give you cleansing tint, I guess, and other stuff and nobody's actually using. Something over there.
What have we here?
This will be useful.
Increased break damage on counterattack. Okay, I think all of you need to learn that immediately. That is very important. Burning shots, burning mark. I think you've already learned, like, we've already learned burning shots, right? Yeah, we can already use that. So I guess I can give this to you, or... The one who counterattacks is mainly Gustav or Mael. But mainly Gustav. Like, I feel like he needs this right now. So let's take away, what does Versatile do? Okay, we already can't take that away. Let's take away Exposing Attack then. And get Breaking Counter. Hold on. Oh, we have a new skill we didn't even freaking put on. Okay, hold on. Let's take away Lumiere Assault then, because I've never used that. I guess we go this way?
Well, that will help.
New enemies? Okay. There's a guy over there. Are they made of bone? Or maybe not. They're gonna be weak to physical attacks, right? I'm like, at least that's what I think. Wait, it didn't switch my thing. That's weird. Okay.
A storm is coming. Earth rise.
Oh, one of them dodged it.
Giving up.
Really? Oh, you're at 1 HP. Bro, I completely forgot. I didn't heal anyone.
Okay.
That's bound to happen. What the hell? What the... What? What just happened? I don't even know what just happened. What on earth was that? Okay, you keep dodging. That's very annoying. I'm not gonna heal because I'm redoing this fight. When am I supposed to... God, it's always so confusing when you're supposed to dodge. Okay, I'm not supposed to jump that apparently. They have so many different attacks. No. I'm redoing that. I think it's literally designed that you have to lose some fights to actually know what to do.
Oh, lovely.
Like, that's the idea. I wish I could heal before I get in the battle. Like, it's kind of annoying you can't do that. Oh, you know what I could do? I could actually switch my with let's try that actually. Also, apparently I didn't switch your skills, even though I remember doing that. There we go.
Let me help.
Can I shoot those orbs? I don't think I can. Oh wait, hold on. Hold on, maybe I can. No, I don't think I can.
Feel the burn. Let's speed things up. Careful now. Gustav! Careful now. Gustav! Look out!
When do you want me to dodge, man? Seriously?
I'm ready.
Four attacks is crazy, man.
I'm ready.
I need to get more night attacks. We messed that up.
Ready to evade. Unusual light. A storm is coming.
We're at Twilight now, okay.
Let us stain them.
I already used it up. There's so much freaking armor, man.
Feel the burn. Attention. Renee, attention.
Okay, so we still have Twilight. Get some AP. Keeps doing that.
Ready. Let's speed things up. Brace yourselves. A storm is coming.
I almost messed that up. I don't want to use Mayhem yet because just use it at this point. All of your armor's gone.
Here's your card. I'm ready. Attention. Let the ink flow.
Your armor's gone.
I'm knitting.
Too early.
Feel the burn. Ready. Oh, you go. Chroma's flowing. Till the end.
Twilight. So they are weak to dark. I feel like the game's literally telling you, hey, you need CL for this. And I guess that makes sense. Yeah, you got a new weapon for her as well. Okay. We're supposed to use it for this. And I do want to, it's just like she's a bit higher level, so I don't want to use her yet. That's the problem. Wow, that's a lot of damage. No longer gain AP and parry, plus 1 AP on getting hit. It's like you're basically saying you want to lose at that point, because the main point is not to get hit. Because you take so much damage. That's not worth it.
Lizette, 56th. In my youth, I mistook drama for passion. Simone helped me understand the difference. Opened my eyes to an entirely different way to experience the world. How can she be gone? How could they so callously so nonchalantly destroy such a beautiful soul? Vile, vile, vile! They just killed her, like she was a worthless Nevron. Those cold-blooded, treacherous, despicable parasites. But Night Trap worked. We caught one of those white-haired bastards.
White-haired.
She looks human, but I know she's a monster. She refuses to speak, but I'll make her talk, and then I will feed her to a Nevron. Then the Paintress can take me. I don't care. Nothing matters. I will have justice.
I have this weird feeling. No, that's literally what she says. Yeah, like she was a worthless Nevron. So she befriended a Nevron, and we've seen, right, like some of them are actually nicer, like they don't actually attack you. And that white-haired woman actually killed one of them, and that pissed her off. Interesting. Let me heal the party. I think we'll keep this party for now, but I do wanna... Okay. Look at you. Because you need more dark attacks. Yeah, this thing. You need this one. Because it's a moon attack, and yeah. So I'll take away Dark Cleansing, get Twilight Slash instead. To all enemies. That's fine. Now what do you have? You have Dodger, you have Staggering Attack, okay. That should be fine. Wait, do you have something? No, I think no. There we go.
Let us stay there.
Just gotta burn both of them.
Do you mean?
Damn it, you didn't switch it again. I don't know why it does that. It's super annoying.
Let's speed things up. Look out! Take cover! Careful now.
There we go.
I've seen you.
Oh wow, okay, yeah, she does very good here. I'm gonna burn you.
Feel the burn. Touch this up. Danger.
No, your revival skill would be very useful right about now. Get some AP from that. Because she's dead. Like, come on. She literally has no HP, just armor. Lightning. I should have. She's literally dead. Like, are you? What is this bull? She literally has no HP. I did that at the right time, but okay. She has no HP.
To evade.
I'm gonna die here because I've already messed this up.
Ready to evade.
The QTs are like so key, man. Like you can't mess that up. The game punishes you for that. So apparently I didn't add the skill that I wanted. Okay, there it is. I'm gonna take this away and get Spectral Sweep instead.
Let me help.
Let's speed things up. Danger! Careful now, Gustav. Dodge, Gustav.
It's good for now.
Do me in. I see one. Better stay in.
There we go.
Careful now. Gustav!
Okay, yeah, overcharge. It's not gonna work. Just one hit, it's not gonna do anything. It's 3 hits. That'll actually do something.
Do me in.
Let's go for Thunderfall. Shield is gone.
It's not on you.
Can get shield back.
Look out.
You're done. It's 2 hits. You're not on fire though.
Feel the burn.
Do something about that.
Danger.
Do that.
Let's go.
Twilight. 2 to 6 sets. Okay, let's go for that. If she's a freaking monster, man, at least for these enemies, because they're weak to dark. Did she level up from that? I don't think she did, right? She didn't. Okay, that's fine. So we're gonna switch Gustav with Mael to get them on the same level. Or actually, I might even take away Luna, but she's the only healer, so no, we have to keep Luna.
We can use that.
Yes, we can. Go up here. There's gotta be something up here. Another enemy, okay.
Feel the burn.
You dodged it.
Oh well.
I think only dark attacks work on them. At least that's what I think, anyway.
On me.
I'll do it. Not again.
On me.
I'm ready. I'm ready. If I die, so be it.
This is ridiculous. You keep dodging everything, man. Like, do I just shoot you? Is that what you want? I'll do that. I'll do that next time. Way easier. They're not even flying, are they? I can never tell what they're attacking. It's literally so freaking difficult.
I'm ready.
I'm just gonna die here. I already messed this up.
Ready to evade.
I'm gonna shoot those guys next time. It's literally, you can't even hit them. That was awkward.
Well, well.
You're almost dead.
Let's speed things up.
On guard.
Carter takes 3.
do it. Look out. I'll do it. I'm ready.
Ready? I've seen you.
That guy still lived? Seriously, just shoot him. There we go.
Flames. On me.
Chroma is flowing.
Gonna have to heal yourself. That was perfect. He's on fire. There's no point in doing that.
I'm ready.
Time to strike.
Okay, now we can do it.
Chroma is flowing.
That is so much damage. Ridiculous. Oh, I still live level 16, okay. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of, you know? I'm gonna take her off for a bit. Gonna Gustav. Thing is, she's the only one who's actually doing like real damage to these guys, you know? That's the problem.
This will be useful.
Play first. Interesting. That might be good to have on CL, I guess. 'Cause she's always like super late. I wish it was an item that could literally like level up your characters. That'd be pretty freaking good. I think you've seen this guy before. I know you. What do you mean you know us? I've seen you countless times. Yet I've never grasped your essence. You are not from here. From here? This place was made to bring joy, not pain. Yet pain is everywhere. Like the creature of darkness at the end of this path. It is but one of her many creations. Beautiful in its own way, but deadly. Her favorite combination. You mean the Paintress? Why is she doing this? I don't know. I wish I knew. It is not like her. What is like her then? She was my best friend. Oh, really? But she outgrew us. She had more important things, more important friends. She left me behind. The boy's gone silent. Again. God, I had more questions, man. Come on. Whatever. You rest first. Upgrade some attributes. Ooh. Switching 11 minus 9. Tally's gonna go up to 8. Put that to 9. Let's put you to 9. It should be good. Yes, she can finally get that freaking shield breaking skill. That is so useful. I'm definitely gonna be using that. I don't think I've ever used Pierce, so you can take that away. For you, you have 3, then okay. Medium single target damage. You need more for like the night thing. Is that up here? It's up here. Deals high single target dark damage. Consumes all force out to deal additional damage. I think we should work on that, right? Could get night from this as well. I want to get all set. That's going to take me a century, though. Work on this first. Phantom Blade. High symmetry. Okay. I think that's good. Finally, she's gonna have freaking revival skill. Rouse an ally with 30 to 70% 8 health and 2 additional AP. Yes, we need that. 100% we need that. What do we take away? I don't really... I don't know. I think we could take away Earth Rising. I don't really use that much anymore.
A shrine to the Paintress.
The Paintress destroyed our world, and someone built her a shrine.
The weak-minded turn to whatever they can to explain the unknown.
When you're at the mercy of a power you don't understand, you might try anything.
What the hell are you? This is good because I can try out my new skills. First, let's go for some fire.
Feel the burn.
On guard.
Careful, Maya.
Okay.
I can do it.
That was a lot of damage.
From Guard up.
I mean, I didn't need to do that, but I wanted to. Also, we learned Breaker. Nice. I'm gonna have to get that on everyone. Breaker. 10! Damn, it costs 10 for that. I mean, it makes sense. 25% increased break damage, that's, yeah, pretty freaking expensive. Could get that free, but that literally uses everything I have. I don't know if that's worth it. Energizing pain? Yeah, I'm using that. Now, what's the right way? Is it this way? I'm guessing that's the right way. Damn, there are a lot of enemies here.
Let me help.
Feel the burn.
Missed the last one.
Tap, don't die. Okay.
Let me give this to you. So now I can use rebirth.
A brilliant light.
I missed the first one.
Let's finish this. Take cover. Brace yourself.
Why'd he go for a third attack, though? Screw you. Oh my god, man.
Get ready. Get ready.
Let us stay now. Ready to obey.
Don't let them kill me. Yep. That's the only way you learn in this game. You have to lose a couple times. Okay.
Shields up.
You're shooting them is gonna take me like a century. I don't know if it's even worth it. I can't dodge that last one though.
Careful, my.
I'm better.
Careful, my owl. Ready to evade. Danger!
Get ready.
Dodge this out.
What are you supposed to dodge that? I really just don't know. I don't know.
A storm is coming.
Cost freaking 5. God.
I'll do it.
You can't carry that, okay. Such awkward movements, man. It's not a surprise that I'm messing up.
Wow, thanks. Rooney, watch out! Rooney, watch out!
I'm ready.
Oh my god, man. What do you want from me? Seriously, this is so freaking difficult. Like, this is normal difficulty. That's nuts to me.
Shields up!
Let me help.
I'm ready.
Contact!
Ready to evade.
I can't see the thing.
A storm is coming. Here. I'm ready.
Enough to heal.
Second wing.
I need fire.
Get ready.
Brace yourselves.
Get ready.
Dodge cover. Take cover.
Get ready. Second wing.
A storm is coming.
Overcharge is ready. Okay. No, I didn't want to hit you. Damn it.
I'll do it. Ready to evade. Take cover.
You literally have to keep an eye on the dark projectiles. That's like the only way you can dodge that, and it's so hard to look. Like, it's so hard to see it.
Ready to evade.
There we go. Oh my god, it's so hard to see that. That was too early.
Let us stain them.
I have 6 AP now. Or 7 AP.
Precision.
What do you want me to do? Like, he literally dodges everything. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about this guy. Like, literally the only way to take him down is use the other girl. That's, like, I don't like that, you know, like, there's no way he only has one way of taking him down, you know?
Let the ink
Like,
flow.
why does he dodge everything except card attacks? Explain that to me, it literally makes no sense. No one's on fire.
On me. Ready to carry. Watch out.
I'll do it.
And that's that. This guy is such an annoying enemy, seriously. No, I did not mean to put you in here. just gotta die, come on. There we go.
Let me help.
Shields up.
I'm gonna save up the Thunderfall.
On me.
Danger! Dodge, Gustav. Let us stain them.
Thunderfall.
Lightning.
I'm
Strike.
hoping you hit the right target. You didn't, but okay.
Let's dance. I'm not giving up.
He's gonna attack and gonna die for sure. We're gonna have to keep using this.
Lightning. Strike.
He's gonna dodge. Wow, he dodged 3 times.
Flames. On me.
Brace yourselves.
Ready to tarry.
A storm is coming.
Take him down. Finally, he's dead.
Finesse and grace.
Finish this guy off.
Take down their shields.
Freaking annoying as hell, man. I did not enjoy that, like, at all. That was not fun. Why are you following me? God damn you.
Gustav, don't die.
ça.
I don't think you can parry that. Maybe you can, I don't know.
Let me help.
A storm is coming.
Thunderfall.
Lightning, strike! Dodge Kasab.
Ready to parry.
You can't parry that. Stop lying to me.
Second wind.
I'm ready.
I've tried it before. Oh yeah, I forgot you have that skill. What am I doing?
Take down their shield.
You only have 1 AP though. I don't know if that was worth it. Okay, you have overcharge. But you can't use it right now.
Let's spill some ink.
Alright, same thing.
Take down their shields.
Okay, you have 5, so lightning is gonna work. Some good damage.
Look out! Second wind.
The dance begins.
Gonna use that on you.
Gustav, don't die. Gustav, don't die.
Now you don't have enough AP. Oh man.
Blades sharp.
We're done. She's that. And you're done. Oof. So we learned breaking counter, that's good. Let me actually look at that. Oh yeah, that's good. Let's make sure everyone knows that. Okay, just a bit more. If my L levels up one more time, I can finally switch. Well, where is this? It's in the middle of nowhere. Is there anything over here? What is up here? There's a camp over here. Where is... Am I even going the right... I'm gonna go back. And this is like... I don't know where this is. I don't know where I'm going. What should I do with you now? Direct damage. Medium ice damage to all enemies applies slow. That's interesting. I want to get this, but that's 6 points, you know? It's gonna be hard. Winter Star deals high ice damage to all enemies. Heals at last. I want to get this. That sounds cool. I'm gonna try to get that. Like, where the hell is this? I'm gonna go back. Like, I don't know if that's the right way or not. Just gonna miss that.
Interesting.
Wait, how do I... how do I go back? Can I not go back now? Okay. Something over there as well. I'm not gonna fight you guys. I already fought you before. Let's try to go the right way now.
We can use that.
Perfect.
Okay, this is not the right way. I thought it was, or maybe it is. Hold on.
Lucille of the 50th. Our beautiful wheel. Wedged upon the rocks. A casualty of the massive serpent of the sea. But even shattered, its presence is still comforting. Adrian and Gabriel are doing their best to sustain morale, but with no food, no clean water, no way to fix the wheel, our fate is quite clear. Well, to me at least. But I have no desire to hold back the hopes of others. Perhaps. Perhaps we will find a way back. Still. These moments of quiet, sitting on the beach, are also a source of contentment. All our lives we've been running, trying to outrace time, trying to reach an unreachable goal. And now we can finally rest. At least we got to see some of the wonders of this world. Even the serpent, cruel as it is a deadly elegance that is mesmerizing. But oh, what other marvels might we have seen had we been able to keep rolling? I sometimes wonder what it would have been like to grow up outside the dome. Perhaps even live amongst the Nevrons. Could we have achieved a form of peace? Or even prospered alongside them?
Some of them maybe, but the others? Like, some of them are like so freaking aggressive, you know? You can't talk to them. think I came from there, right? So, but I don't know what the right way is. Like, I've literally been everywhere. Like, I'm actually wondering, the place I was originally in, I'm wondering if that was actually the right way to go. I think it was, because I can't, you know, I'm gonna try to go back. No! Screw this guy, I'm not fighting you.
Take cover! A storm is coming.
So I think that was actually the right way.
Looks like a farm.
Like old times, eh?
Oh, it's one of these things. Hold on. Where am I supposed to push you? I don't know where I'm supposed to push you. Can't see a thing anywhere. Over there, maybe? Yeah, there we go. Really? That's annoying.
Let me help.
Finesse and grace.
The lightning damage would be pretty nice right about now. Let's put him on 5 for now. He's taking no damage, what?
Lune, watch out!
I parried that, screw you.
Finesse and grace.
I'm doing like nothing to it.
From fire.
Let's push forward.
Feel the burn. Let's dance.
Danger!
Here we are.
Let's dance.
Second wind.
Please, fly.
Didn't want to hit you.
Careful, Maya.
I'm not gonna get this. I think I'll just... Yeah, I think I'll just use... Maybe I'm not supposed to attack him. Maybe if I take down the minions first, that's an idea. I'm gonna try that. What is he circling around? What are you doing?
Ready to parry.
Let me help.
A storm is coming.
Okay, you're on fire.
Okay.
Careful, Maya. Get ready.
You're almost done.
Chroma is flowing.
He didn't take damage from that. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm very confused here.
Get ready.
Chroma is flowing. Lightning strike!
Guard up.
Danger!
I can't do any damage to this guy. I don't... I'm like super confused here. Oh, now you're taking damage. Let me get this straight. You have to take down all of those minions of his first. And when he's the only one remaining, that's when you attack him. You only have 3 turns. I can't do that. So that's not happening. Okay, no way now. Got one of these. Where's the keys at? Oh, there we go. There's another one over there. There's one more. I don't know where it is. There we go. Do you know? Oh, that's interesting. $213 attack, defensive stance gaining AP also gives 1 AP to allies. Huh, that's interesting. Now, I do want to fight these guys, but I have like no HP right now. I want to switch you out because you're freaking level 15. You're so close to leveling up though. If I could just take down one small minion guy, I'll be set. Ignore him. Oh, come on. Why is he here as well? God damn it.
Let me help.
Okay.
It's not gonna be enough.
I'm ready.
Use that.
Take down the shields.
Let the ink flow. Feel the burn.
Get ready.
Why do I even bother parrying?
Second wave.
That guy's already on fire.
Feel the burn.
Parry it.
No. I'm not gonna parry anything. It never works.
Brace yourselves.
That was too early. Oh, I could use it on you, okay.
For those who come after.
You're done. Look at how much shield that guy has, man. Freaking ridiculous.
Take down their shields.
Let the ink flow.
No shields for you.
Take him down.
Spill some ink.
He's on fire, so...
Place on me.
Well, look out!
Oh my god, I actually did it. So I could do it for that one. I just can't do the other one.
Dodge Gustav.
There we go.
Is coming. Lightning, strike.
I should have waited.
Take cover.
Nah, I didn't break him. There we go.
Finesse and
Now you're done. So if it's like a, you know, like a 2-hit attack, I can parry it, but like anything more than 2 hits, not happening. No way in hell. So did Maya level up? She did! Okay, so we can finally switch. Switch to Gustav, I guess, right? Because he's almost level 17. Oh, you're almost level 17, but we need you, so switch you up. Move you. We'll get you in there. You gotta go this way? I mean, this has to be the right way. There's nowhere else I can go. Is it this way? It's gotta be that way. It's over here. Abandoned and incomplete. And trapped in stone. Quite the situation I'm in, right? Dot dot dot. If you don't say something in the next few seconds, I should knock myself to sleep. Good night. How did this happen? I do not exactly know. But I can certainly guess it has to do with the mistress. Perhaps you could tell us a little bit more? Oh, you want to know more? Just a moment, I'm wondering what I could ask in exchange. You're not really in a position of power here. A poor threat, sadly. In my weak and incomplete state, anything could kill me at this point. The others, they possess shiny, shimmering rocks glistening on their back. Why I like the same luster, I do not know, but it maddens me. No, we could potentially help you out with that. I hope you can. The cavern might be your best bet. If you could find 3 of these lustrous rocks, oh, that'll be magnificent. Sure, I'll get on that. Oh, she lights up the way. What about everyone else? They do the same thing, okay. Great attributes. Switch it to 8. Should be good. Skills? Can you learn anything right now? I don't think you can. No. Wait, what's the next thing I want to learn from there? Sword ballet. That seems interesting. Extreme single target damage, 5 hits. Protects allies by taking damage in their place. I don't think it's a good idea. Fire damage, fire damage. A lot of fire stuff right there, huh? Reapplies current stance, it gives 2 to 4 AP. That actually sounds kind of broken. So I could just stick with a Virtuoso stance pretty much by just using this over and over again. I'm gonna save up for that actually. Are we set to look for some, like, shells or something? I don't see anything like that right now. No? I might have to fight those guys first. Totally see that being the case. There we go. He's got help. Of course he has help.
Shields up.
Careful, my L.
Please, fire.
Oh, you've been
You're done.
I'm ready.
Let us stain them.
Let's dance.
That's fine.
Ready to evade.
I dodged that, come on. Just 2 hits. We should probably just save. If you go second, man, you should go last. It'll make things easier for me.
No tricks.
It's fine though, we got it.
Let us stain them.
Feel the burn.
Now you're on fire. Just gonna keep doing that, huh? Seems all hotel. I don't have any hotel right now. Let's do that.
No tricks.
Oh my god, that was a lot of damage. Wow. That was amazing. I'm going to first try because we've learned that now. I don't think that's... It costs 5. 50% increased damage at first hit. Yeah, it's... yeah. Not really worth it. Can I shoot this? Oh, there we go.
Interesting.
Rock crystal. No, it's this guy again. God, okay, we have, yeah, I think we should be fine this time. Hopefully.
Shields up. Let us stain them.
There we go, he's dead.
Okay.
I'll use your light.
Nobody's on fire. Right? No.
Flames. On me. Chroma is flowing. Feel the burn.
Way too early. That was too early now, okay.
Look out. No, never.
I don't have anything. Oh, you're the only one left. Okay. Still have Twilight. It's just one hit. Can't do it. Oh, actually, hold on. Hold on. There we go. Instant death. Love it.
Great.
Anything over here? Oh, we just came from here. Yeah. Of course. Oh, wow, did not expect that. I was like, why is it not shooting? Or why is it not breaking?
Feel the burn. Here we go. Oh, you go. Ready.
Oh, he's almost dead. Wow, okay. Okay, so my L is level 17 as well. I gotta bring in Gustav, so let's take away my L maybe? Or no, hold on. Take you away for a bit. Oh, you go even deeper. I mean, I guess that's what we do, right? How far does this go? Well, you're definitely a final boss. Well, not the final boss, but like, you're gonna be tough.
Well, that will help.
What's our HP like? Our HP's fine. Okay, give me a sec. Can I look around? Okay. Let's go. You're gonna be tough, for sure. Okay. Oh, but you don't have like a full HP bar. Like a very big HP bar.
Let me help.
I'm ready.
But it's got that music.
Feel the burn.
Okay, yeah, you're definitely a boss.
A storm is coming.
Get some AP.
Take cover.
did that twice.
Sorry, I failed.
It's ridiculous. Oh, come on, I don't have enough.
Please. On me.
I missed literally everything.
Take cover! That hurts. Let's
Pick
finish
you
this.
up. Oh my god, what? The way she attacks is so different when it comes to fire or ice. Yeah, she's definitely a boss, 100%. I don't know how I survived for that long on the first try. I'm actually kind of impressed by that, to be honest. Does she have a weak point? I don't think she does.
Let us stay here. Feel the burn.
I don't know how I just did that. I'm probably never gonna do that again. What do you know right now? Oh, you're weak to fist? No, you're weak to light. Oh, really? Interesting.
A storm is coming. Brace yourself.
Oh, come on! Wait, why did it do that much damage? What? Why is it doing so much damage? What? It wasn't doing that much damage before. What on earth? She's weak to light though, so I feel like you need to use CL for this. She has light attacks, right? Yeah, she does. Well, that's not a light attack. Wait. Oh, even she doesn't have light attacks. Okay, so she's pretty much useless then. Unless she's also weak to dark? Maybe? I'll try it. Who am I gonna take away though? Gustav, I guess? I mean... No, but she's weak to one of his light attacks. Take you away. See how this goes. It's not gonna be easy.
A storm is coming.
I could save up for a Thunderfall, that's an idea, I don't know.
Here we go.
It might actually help a bit.
I'm ready.
you are really dark. So you're weak to light and you're weak to dark. Interesting. I'm gonna save up for... If I do this though, I think I'll have enough. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, I have enough now.
Ready to evade.
Okay, we have Twilight. I don't have enough. I think this might actually work. No, it's not enough. Okay. This should be enough though.
Lightning. Strike.
That didn't
I'll do
break
it.
her, really. A bit too early. Alright, you're done.
Lady Luck smart.
Oof. Oh, we learned first strike, okay. That was cool.
Perfect.
There's a bed here? What the... What is... Salmon?
Oh.
What? Oh, it's a new outfit. That's okay. Was not expecting that. I don't know. Like, wearing that to battle feels kind of weird. Just keep this for now. These outfits are kind of meh, at least for me. Is that it? Is that literally the only thing here? Just one outfit? Gotta be kidding me. Oh. Wait, we're back here? I didn't know this manor was... That's very interesting. Can I go back? How do I go back? There's gotta be a way to go back, right? Maybe fast travel? Did not expect this. The 3 points. Okay. Look at that. That should be good. Skills, nothing. No, you have nothing for now. Nothing for you either. For you. Gotta work on this. Okay. I guess we got a fast shop. Or not, we can't fast shop from here. I have to go out. Oh, now we're back here. That is so... okay. It's so bizarre. So I was thinking this was the right way, but actually it was just extra stuff. So everyone's level 17, okay. We'll keep this team for now. Or no, we'll take away Gustav, take you in. Because Gustav's like decently leveled up already. Or is he? Hold on. No, you're about the same. Hmm. I don't know where to go from here. You stop freaking following me, bro? You're super annoying. I mean, there's nothing else down there, though. Or is there? I don't think there is. I literally looked everywhere. I'm hoping I gotta be really wanted. Is what you were looking for? Yes. This is unbelievable. Please, bring me one more. I'm depending on you. Is what you're looking for? I mean, what? Wait, what? Seriously? Maybe I have to... okay, maybe I have to go back. And actually shoot that crystal one more time. Because there wasn't a second one. I don't think I missed any. I'll be right back. Gotta take a bathroom break first. back down there. Like, I'm assuming I just need to get that stone one more time, and I should be good. Well, that stone isn't there anymore. Oh, it's probably because I have to rest first or something. Let me look around. There might be another stone I missed.
Great.
What's down here? Okay, well, we've already been there before. There's no stone over there. Oh, here we go. There we go. That should be enough. I better get something good out of this, alright? Or I'm gonna be upset. Oh, mistress. This luster, yes. Would you mind inserting them on my back? I hope you will regret this. Oh, the ecstasy. Look at me. I am perfect. And you enter the bargain? Of course, I have not forgotten. But surely you can first let me enjoy this. The bliss. Shining, shimmering, glistening. Exactly how I wanted it. Tell me about your mistress. Oh, our mistress. She is loving. She made us with great pride and care. However, there are times when even she makes mistakes. I am living proof of that. Oh, mistress, forgive me. I did not mean to speak ill of you. Please forgive me. I was having trouble speaking now. We passed the shrine to the Paintress. Do you know who made it? Did any of them survive? No. A long time ago they came to me. They spoke as if they knew the mistress. They revered her, but what they spoke of, the Paintress, the description, did not match. The mistress.
So, does that mean the Paintress has multiple forms?
More likely, she has allies or lieutenants, like the man on the beach.
I guess that could be possible. I'm not gonna attack him. Should I? Like, here's what happens if I do attack him.
We can use that.
Apply shell for 3 turns or battle start? Everyone needs to have that. How expensive is that? I want to know. Where is it? Oh, of course, we don't have it learned yet. Let's give it to you, I guess? I don't know. Doesn't really matter. Oh, it costs 7. I think it literally said there, right? No, that's just a level. Okay, that's okay. How much is it gonna cost? It's probably gonna be a lot. But where am I supposed to go? Like, I've been everywhere, man. What am I missing? How do I get down there? That's probably where I have to go. There's gotta be a way to get down there. Oh, come on, damn it. do I get down there? Oh, okay, here we go. So I gotta go right from here. Ah, here we go. Okay. Wait, how do I... What? I can't break this. How the... Where am I supposed to go? I'm like legitimately lost. Like, seriously. Let's go up here. I wish I could open up the map right now, but I can't. Where the hell am I supposed to go?
This will be useful. Looks like a farm.
Like old times, eh?
I thought for sure this was the right way. I don't... I'm so lost right now. Something up here.
What have we here?
God damn it. Apply powerful when falling below 50% HP. That's actually pretty cool.
Let's dance.
Look out.
I'll do it.
Look out! Well, well.
Not looking good.
I think I could give that to you, maybe? Augmented First Strike. Does anyone have that? No, it's good. What do you have? Burning Shot, Burning Mark. Take that away, get SOS power. Damn, that's 15. Wow.
We can use that.
Like, it tells you it's in this direction, but you can't go anywhere. There's nothing over here. Like, that's probably where they want you to go, right? But you can't go there. It's not really possible. Like, super lost right now. We were just here, like this can't be the way. Like I was literally over here. That's going back the way we came. I was definitely going the right way, 100%.
Perfect.
I'm just missing something over there. Maybe we have to go to the mansion. Maybe the mansion has something. Like, I'm legitimately, like, unsure. So nowhere else I can go here. That's definitely a different place, but I can't go over there. How do I get over there? Okay. Now this is where I went before. Yeah. How do I get down there? Can't step down. I'm gonna go down to the freaking mansion again, see what happens. Like maybe there's another door you can open there. Like, I refuse to believe this entire area is just extra stuff that you don't have to explore if you don't want to. That just doesn't, you know, make sense to me. Oh, I missed this. How did I miss this area? This has to be right way. There we go. This, okay, now we're not lost. You're officially unlost.
Let's speed things up.
Shields up.
Ready to evade.
I don't know how that happened.
Attention. Lumière, attention.
Unusual life.
Wonderful.
Lightning. Strike.
Finesse and grace.
They're not burning, so do this first.
Here we go.
Okay.
Ready to evade.
None of them are on fire.
I can do it. Take down their shields.
Ready.
Don't have enough. That should be enough though.
I'm ready.
I don't know how I missed all of that.
Not looking good.
There we go.
Zoom in.
Careful now.
Harry it!
Let the ink flow.
Okay, she's ready.
Ready?
There we go. And we're done. Okay, so we should probably switch Yell out for a bit. Okay, Gustav then. They're weak to Ciel, but like I don't wanna. Let's take away Loon. This might be a bit difficult, but let's give it a shot.
Flory is over there. Ooh. But I sense something scary.
That doesn't sound good. So, do I have to go this way? I'm guessing I have to go this way, right? Finally, we're not lost though. God damn. Let's go 13 more. Nothing for now. Huh, so she can literally use all elements. Interesting. I have to get this. What is this? Absorbs allies' health and enemies. That is a terrible thing to do. I'm gonna go over here first. Let's see what's over here. Wait, do we have to go this way? Maybe this is the right way. Hold on, go back. I can't tell what the right way is. I'm assuming it's that lighthouse over there. No, I feel like this is the wrong way. It's gotta be the wrong way. There's a door here? Get fast shot moving. Looks good. Steal you first. Oh, we have all the buffs. Not all of them, but you know. There we go. So much damage. And you're done. Gotta be something over here. Where's this lead? I don't know where I'm going then. What's up here? No, there's two of these
Spill
guys.
some ink.
Okay, we gotta deal with that right away.
Let me help.
Missed everything.
Don't die.
Careful now.
Thank God.
Ready to parry. Okay. Okay.
Do me in. Okay.
On guard.
I actually hit him that time, that's good.
Flames. On me.
Heads up, Sia.
Let's start. Guard up.
Today,
Ready to parry.
Hmm.
oh, you alright?
Cielo, dodge. Look out.
Get ready.
Ready to parry.
Got overcharge. He's gonna miss though, isn't he? Hold on.
For those who come after.
Freaking so stupid. Like they dodge everything. It's like it's just based off luck at that point. I don't know what else to do with you.
Take down their shields.
Try to take her down first, I guess.
Stance.
Look out!
Guard up. Guard up.
Get ready.
There we go.
For those who come after.
And missed again. Yep.
I can do it.
Not surprising.
Finesse and precision.
God. Damn it.
I'll use your knife.
Not giving up. Still need your help.
Freaking hate those things. They're just complete bull.
Not today.
Like, literally, it's entirely luck-based.
Merci.
Second wind.
Don't die.
Heads
I
up
literally
here.
couldn't see it. But,
I'll use them.
Okay.
you're not gonna hit it. You try any. What'd I say? Felt like I'm freaking just brute force it. Nope. Okay.
Ready to turn.
Take your shot.
Heads up here.
Too early. Okay.
Time to strike.
This should finish you off. Did you just see what happened? How many hits was that? That was like 6, 7 hits. She dodged all of that. Screw you. Like, this is actually pissing me off.
Let's spill some ink.
Like, what is that bull?
Take down their shields.
Doing in.
Oh my god, I missed. Kill him.
Looking good.
I don't know what they were thinking with that enemy. It's just, it's literally entirely luck based. You dodge pretty much everything. Unless you get lucky.
What have we here?
Where is this gonna lead? Okay, Harry was level 18 now. Let's keep this party for a bit. What's up here? Can't get up there. Can I? Oh, okay.
Great.
There's a big guy there. I'm gonna ignore him. Do not have enough HP for this man.
We can use that.
Healing tanks give you 1 AP. Interesting. Very interesting. Where the hell am I? What's the point of coming up here? I can't even do anything. Oh. I was like super confused. What is this?
An advantage.
Quarter limb. 218 damage. Or 243, my bad. So it does ice damage. Sure, why not? And the healing tinned one is pretty interesting, I'm not gonna lie. Let's take away marking shots and get healing tint. I'm guessing that's the only reason you come up here. How do can I get over there? There's gotta be a way to get over there. I'm not seeing it though. If I go up here again. There we go.
An advantage.
Revived shard. And that's something here as well.
Nice.
Mark targets deal 30% less damage. That's cool. Probably not gonna use that though. What is this? Can I do something with this? Oh, this is... oh. I'm just dumb. Let's go down from here. I think we've explored pretty much this entire area now. Yeah, we've already been there. I think we're good to go. Did I check this area? I think I did, right? Yeah, that's where I came from. I can't climb that, really? Let's see here. 13, 11, 9, 13, 11, 9. Well, this isn't creepy at all. I do not like that noise. I should probably switch to moon now. Moon now. Damn, CL has 920 HP. Wow. I think she's the tank. God damn. I need you to take down shields. Let's take away Gustav for now. There we go. I bet you he's going to be to light or dark. I bet you. If he isn't, I'm just wasting my time with CL, pretty much.
Alright, let's get rid of it. The rock should be nearby.
Okay, here we go. Oh, she goes next, okay. Can I shoot the lamps? I don't think I can. Wait, hold on. No, I just wasted my time. Okay. Put you on fire. Yeah, I couldn't tell when he was attacking. That's gonna happen because I'm not sure of his attacks yet. Not gonna make this easy for me, is it?
Not looking good. Their defenses are down.
Thank God.
I'm ready. Ready to obey.
We're in Twilight mode. Don't have enough though. is not easy to dodge, man. That goddamn. Oh, not you. Damn it.
It's locked on you. It's locked on you. Careful. It's locked on you. Well,
That was a total guess. I'm glad that worked.
let us sting them. Look out. Here we go.
Those are lucky dodges. I'm just gonna put that out there.
Let's speed things up.
Didn't break them there. Too early. Get in there.
The elements dance.
Still wasn't enough, huh? Just a bit more.
Blades. On me.
What's going on? Okay, we did it.
Easier than expected.
Yeah,
Don't
actually,
think so.
yeah.
We need to invite misfortune.
That's true.
I don't see any stones.
What's happening?
Oh, come on. Not a phase 2, please. I was so satisfied with that.
Misfortune.
You've gotta be kidding me. That's a jump attack? Oh shit.
Ready to power. Let's spill some ink.
Okay, everyone's freaking dead, so that's an issue.
Here we go.
Did not need to revive you.
Get up.
What is up with this strange ritual? What is up with that?
I can do it.
I have to shoot them in the butt? Hmm.
Here we go. I'll leave with them.
could not tell when he was attacking.
I'm ready.
My master's attack is cancelled. Oh, that's how it works. That's interesting. If I knew that earlier, that would have been nice. I already forgot. Was it this one? This one? Oh shoot. Damn it! My memory's terrible, okay?
Finesse and grace. Shields up.
Let's speed things up.
I remember this time. Never mind. Oh, it's second memory stuff, man. Don't make me remember stuff. God damn it. I am not gonna win this. Okay, we're in Twilight now. We don't have enough.
Ready to parry.
You can't even parry that attack, I think. Bro, it's a freaking memory game. I suck at those, man. Why are you making me do this? Oh my god, we have to do the entire fight over again? God, you're shitting me. Actually, we don't even need... No, we do need Lulu because she heals. We don't need Mael. Yeah, she doesn't do much. Gustav, Shiel,
I'll use your knife. Chroma is flowing.
That's not the attack I was expecting.
second wind.
A storm is coming.
That wasn't enough.
Get ready. Take them down.
Well, well.
Get ready. Get ready.
I'll do it.
I never get the timing right, man. It's so freaking difficult.
You don't get to die yet. Made enough snow today.
Okay, phase 2.
Dodge yourself.
Okay. Even I can't fuck this up. Come on now. There you go. Wait, did I get my AP back as well? That's interesting.
For those who come after.
Good damage.
Not today.
She still does that flying combo though. I don't really get it. Okay.
Time to take risks.
I already forgot what it was. Oh my god, my memory is so terrible, bro. I only have one though. Oh, if I do it correct, it gives me another. Okay. Well, that was wrong.
Sorry, I failed. Can you even dodge that? It's like so ridiculous.
2314. 2314. Okay, I remember that. 2 3 1 4. If I remember like numbers, I think I can probably do it.
Nobody dies.
It says it's like it helps, but like it really doesn't. Like it still attacks you with a very dangerous attack. 1, 2, 3, 4. You and I know that. Okay. What? Did I miss one of my shots? I don't even know what happened.
Let's push forward.
I could probably revive, but he's survive for a bit.
Not looking good. Ready. Careful now. Good stuff.
Okay. 3, 4, 1, 2. 3, 4, 1, 2.
Let me help.
Chroma is flowing. I'll do it.
1, 4, 2, 3. One, 4, 2, 3. 1, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 3. 1, 4, 2, 3. 1, 4, 2, 3. 1, 4, 2, 3. 1, 4, 2, 3.
Take him down.
Take cover.
2, 1, 4, 3.
A storm is coming.
2, 1, 4, 3. 2, 1, 4, 3. 2, 1.
I die. So be it.
Okay, we got it. Man, don't make me play memory games, man. I'm not good at that crap. Okay, so we learned auto shell. That's good. At that store, do 50% more damage if health is below 10%. Not really useful, because most of the time, if I'm at low HP, I'm just gonna be healing up rather than doing damage, but cool.
Is it really dead.
Oh, it better be. I'm not doing a
Looks
phase
like
3.
Is this it?
Oh, Flory. All right. Ready to sail like a snail. Just jump, mes amis. It's not that high.
You think so?
Finally crossed the sea.
You don't happen to have some wine stashed away, do you?
Wine?
Hey, you can do this.
I hate water.
She doesn't seem that far now, does she?
Yeah. Wanna throw one more rock?
The others are waiting, but
You might reach it.
okay.
Gotta find the perfect rock, you know.
Ooh, what about that one?
Another nightmare? Or is he actually here? There's no way he's
Does
actually
it
here.
really matter?
Yeah, it's just a nightmare. There's no way.
Well, you know, like I always say, it's not about the rock. It's more about
No.
Gustav.
He was actually there?
run.
Run. Please run.
You just gonna stay behind? You serious?
Why? Why are you doing this?
Hey Lara, thanks for following. Appreciate that. We're actually fight. Bro, I have 1 HP. I'm not gonna win this.
We've done nothing to you. We should be on the same side.
We're not, though. We're not. I did nothing to him.
Let her go.
This is going nowhere. What is the point of this? There's attention to Gustav, he's about to attack?
Something's going on up there.
Oh yeah.
Escape! Get us up there!
Are you kidding me? 2 phases. And he's still not dead. This is the worst scenario. We're done. Like, there's nothing we can do here. I can buff myself, heal myself, do whatever I want. It's not going anywhere. Overcharge. That's not gonna be enough. 0 XP victory. I don't know about that one. time's gone? Why'd it fall off like that? Yep, I did nothing to him. Look, he's still fine after all that.
For those who come after. Right?
You promised!
He's not dying. There's no way. No way.
No.
You won't yet understand. But this is a kindness, not a cruelty.
The fuck are you talking about?
You let her come. You know she's too weak for this. How could you let her take such a risk?
You only care when things are right in front of you. My sweet child, you were supposed to stay home. I told you not to worry. But since you're here now, just stay put.
What are you saying? You must go home, now. This does not involve you.
When this is over, we'll go home together.
No!
What the hell just happened?
This won't make sense to you now. But we both want what's best for our families. I'm sorry you're caught in the middle, but I did try to warn you.
None of this makes any sense. Wait. What the? What?
It's been a while.
Who is? Wait.
Stay out of this. You chose to walk away.
I am
Don't
so
get to
confused.
come back now and interfere.
You've lived more than a lifetime. It's time to let her go.
A lifetime. A lifetime with my family torn apart. No. I want my family back.
It's not your family. But she is.
You would use her.
She chose to come. I didn't make the rules between you two. Hey. You alright?
No. What kind of stupid question is that?
It's okay. I'll handle things here. Get back to your friends. Go.
So that's it. You've set us down this path. But are you ready for the consequences?
She'll never paint again.
So Gustav is just dead. He's out of the party. He's gone. Just like that. I was not expecting this. I'm super confused. I don't know what the hell's going on. Who are those people? Why'd they do that?
Last time we sat together like this.
In Lemire, mourning our parents.
Seems like every time we're together, it's to grieve. I wish we could have spent more time in less hopeless contexts.
The plan doesn't change. We aim for the monolith. We keep heading north. With SKA's help, we can make it. But we lost the Lumina converter, so...
It's okay, we can think about that later.
All the backups were destroyed by that man, but Expedition 32 will bring more. Their chances will be better. We need to prepare them. I should update our journals.
Hey. It's okay. Tomorrow will still come.
Ciel.
This seemed important. If you want to reach the monolith, the best path is through the quarry up north.
Who are you?
And where did you get that expedition uniform?
Strange way to say thank you. Sorry I couldn't save your friend. I'm wearing an expedition uniform because I, too, am an expeditioner.
What? What do you mean you're an...
I've never seen you before.
First expedition. Expedition 0.
How are you still
Expedition
alive?
0. But how are you alive and not...
Old. exactly, but some of us stopped aging and were not affected by the gamage.
Some of you. Like the man on the cliff.
Anwar, our commander.
Why? Why did he massacre our team?
How could he turn on his own people?
He believes his immortality is a gift from the Paintress. Killing her would kill him too, and he enjoys living forever.
That's the only
And
reason?
you don't.
Really?
Burying everyone you know while you live on can weigh you down a bit. I couldn't help your friend, but perhaps I can help you.
You want to join us?
If you don't mind the company. Yes.
So, if I want to kill Renoir, I have to kill the Paintress first. What's your name?
Versa.
Versa. That was Act 1. Wow. I don't even know what to say. Oh, so now you're the protagonist now, huh? Gustav dies, you take over, is that it? I'm upset, man. I'm upset. I want to make it known. Let me upgrade some. Let's upgrade that. What weapon do you have? Huh. Funny, you use the same weapons as... yeah. As Gustav. For Alicio. Your weapon doesn't do a lot of damage, bud. I wanna fix that. Switch into this. Let me upgrade this first. $364 damage, goddamn. He reminds me a lot of Gustav, though. I don't know why. I do want to give you auto shell if I can. Oh, you already have Dodger equipped. Very interesting. Okay. Give you auto shell. Everyone needs that. Auto shell. Auto shell. So what are your moves? Salt Zero from fire. Isn't that literally the same move as like he has the same moves, doesn't he? What is up with this guy? It's too easy, seriously. You have similar moves to Gustav, like, that can't be a coincidence.
Expedition Zero left 67 years ago, which would make you...
About 100. Yeah.
Tell me about the fracture.
Or not.
I'm not gonna get much sleep tonight, am I?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Mon ami. Oh, you've put on a lot of weight.
I could say the same for you, you giant marshmallow. Bet you lost your stones again.
You know me. But now you're here. We can go find them.
Yeah, buddy. We'll find them. Tell me, did you tell them about... you know what?
Oh, Maman's the word. I promised.
Great. I'm counting on you.
Always, mon ami.
What is he talking about? Want to spend time with Esky? Sure.
Verso, mon ami.
Esquier, mon ami. I feel like I haven't seen you in years.
3 years, 67 days, and roughly 10 hours.
Very specific.
10 hours and 7 minutes.
Oh, you've been counting too.
Roughly.
What have you been up to?
What have you been up to?
Oh. I have been perfecting the art of napping.
Impressive. You must teach me his secrets.
Mon ami, I wish I could, but napping cannot be taught. It can only be experienced. We must nap together.
Sure, that sounds nice.
Yes.
So how did these expeditioners convince you to leave your cave?
They're all so nice. Well, the super nice one died, but the others are cool too. You can make some friends too. It's been a long time since you made new human friends.
You know what I think about friendships with expeditioners? What?
You know what I think about friendships with expeditioners.
Losing a rock is better than never having a rock.
Oh, he doesn't want to experience loss. Okay.
Ask me how I know.
Debatable.
I hope we won't lose them, like the others.
So, you lost your stones again. How did you lose them this time?
Yeah, I lost them on our trip back from the Chestrel River, right after you left.
I brought your stones back 10 times. Are you losing them on purpose?
I brought your stones back 10 times now. Are you losing them on purpose?
I lose them so we can go on more adventures.
That's a good reason. To adventure then.
Esky and Versa became the flame of their friendship. Relationship level increased? There's relationship levels? And I didn't have that when I was playing as Gustav? That really pisses me off.
To adventure!
It's like I'm so used to Gustav, you know, and now he's just gone. And now I realize like there are a couple of mechanics that you don't get to see if you're playing as Gustav. No, they're not going to say anything. Fair enough. So we're not going to write in our journal. Yeah, because that was a Gustav thing, right? The next morning.
sorry it didn't arrive sooner. He was your brother?
Something like that.
This is more like an uncle, you know?
Losing family is difficult.
I know. I know what you're going to say. You want to offer your condolences. You want to say something comforting. But I don't need it.
Yeah,
I've had enough condolences.
that's fair.
I've lost so many families now. I just need... Can you please go?
Wait, was that his journal? Did he pick it up? Yeah, I think that was Gustav's journal. And I wrote it as much as I could. Escape ability unlocked. Swim. Cool. I'm gonna assume we autosaved. I think we probably did. I'm gonna call it a day. I don't want to keep going right now. I was not expecting Gustav. So, like, that came completely out of the blue. I was not expecting that. Let's stop here. Anyways, guys, peace out and good night.